Man, the past couple of weeks have been crazy for Spider-Man fans. We have gotten a ton of promotion for Spider-Man No Way Home, and along with that come a lot of leaks and rumors about what's going to be in that movie and what Marvel and Sony are planning after that. On top of that, we got a new trailer for Across the Spider-Verse, which is going to be a two-part animated sequel to Into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales. And I've taken a look at all this different Spider-Man information, and I have a theory on what I think it's going to mean for Venom 3 and the future of Tom Holland's Spider-Man movie. Come along with me on this crazy, speculative, informative journey as I explain to you what I think Sony and Marvel are really working towards. Spider-Man and Venom Hunt! What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Ventures Tower as per usual. Now, let us begin with this new report all about Venom 3. This is coming from Small Screen Leaks, who is relatively new on the scene, but they definitely seem like they have some sources. They've been accurate on a lot of things so far, and they just ran this as an exclusive. Tom Holland to star as Spider-Man in Venom 3. This is an exclusive by them, just dropped today. I want to read a little bit of the article here. Then I have some other notes that we'll go through as well. This is wild stuff.
That is awesome, dude.
So it says it has been revealed not too long ago that Venom 3 is currently in the works, and we've been informed that Tom Holland is set to appear in the movie as Spider-Man. This was revealed to us by a source close to Marvel Studios. Spider-Man and Venom producer Amy Pascal revealed this news during a recent interview with Collider. You can check out what Pascal had to say below. She basically said this: "We are in the planning stages right now, but what we are focused on is getting everybody to come and see No Way Home." Here's what our source had to say about Tom Holland playing Spider-Man in Venom 3. One of the movies that Tom's been in negotiations for is the third Venom movie. The dotted line has been signed. Venom 3 will feature Spider-Man in some capacity. Now, the article goes on to say here, however, it seems as though his upcoming Spidey appearances won't be only in those movies. We did a reveal a few weeks ago that Tom Holland had signed on for 5 movies, 3 solo Spider-Man movies, and 2 Sony Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man movies. Venom 3 is one of those movies, and it seems as though Sony Pictures and Amy Pascal have big plans for this universe. They want the SMCU to be as big as the MCU in the future, and bringing in Tom Holland Spider-Man into such films as Venom 3 is key to the SMCU's success. Okay, so that's cool. Update about Venom 3, and yes, that 5 movie deal is something that's really out there a lot. They apparently were one of the ones to report about this. I've heard that from other people as well. This idea that there will be 2 Sony movies but 3 MCU movies. Right now, what a lot of people think is that we will get a college type trilogy with Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU, but he'll also be going over to do some movies with Sony, and that is likely to include Venom 3. And it is true, as they mentioned in the article, that there's some discussion about this coming from people at Sony. In an interview with Collider recently, we just saw Amy Pascal did mention that they are working on Venom 3. That's pretty much all she was willing to talk about. And even Kevin Feige recently talked about this. I actually did a TikTok about this, and yeah, I'm on TikTok. Go check me out on there. I'm cool like all you fellow kids. But in the interview with Collider, when talking about Venom, Kevin Feige basically says that after Tom Hardy was established as so iconic to Venom, and Venom went on to do as well as it did as a franchise, it was only natural that they would put these two on some kind of a collision course. In fact, let's just look at the quote right here. Here's what he says. He says, "You look at the obvious comic connotations between Venom and Spider-Man, and it is inherent. So the minute Sony made their Venom movie and it worked as well as it did, and Tom Hardy became as iconic as he has become as Venom, then the obvious question is then, how do we start to merge them?"
They make me want to merge without looking.
And so you have Amy Pascal talking about how Venom 3 is being planned. You have Kevin Feige talking about the possibility of merging these two together. And I want to show you an interview that Tom Hardy did when he was talking about Venom Let There Be Carnage and the future of the franchise. Now, this is actually in a long, drawn-out answer where he sort of begins about talking about trilogies and how that works within movies today. But listen to what he says here with regards to the difference between a Spider-Verse, a Venom-verse, and the MCU. Let's check this out.
The world you continue to unpack. There's a Venom verse, there's a Spider Verse, there's multiverses, there's all kinds of canon and lore and mythology to explore, both laterally and forward in time. And I think with the right people and the right planning and feedback from the audience and understanding it's about making the right choices at the right time, even with foresight of understanding where things may go already or may wish to go. It's a combination of all of those in the alchemy of what it will be.
Pretty interesting, yes?
Very interesting.
And yeah, all of that's really cool, but here's my big problem with this whole situation. Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Well, you see, the issue here, guys, is that it seems as though there's going to be this sort of crossover, this merging that is happening. But if the rumors about the post-credit scene for Spider-Man No Way Home are to be believed, then there's a strangeness to this, okay? And so, yes, I must issue a spoiler warning. And I'll kind of TLDR it for you because, yes, it does technically potentially ruin one of the post-credit scenes for Spider-Man No Way Home. But here it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is said that in one of these scenes, you will see Eddie Brock with Venom at the hotel resort that they kind of finished Venom Let There Be Carnage at. They are in the MCU and apparently watching on television the events of Spider-Man No Way Home play out. That's right. They're just chilling in the MCU. They decided to extend their vacation. They don't go interact at all with Spider-Man in the film. They're just watching it all play out on television, and they're like, this is really crazy. There's all these different heroes and villains in this universe. This is kind of wild. And then all of a sudden, they get sucked back into the Sony universe. So what this likely means is that Doctor Strange will actually complete the spell, fixing the multiverse for the moment, some point in the film, and that is when Eddie will be whisked back to the Sony universe. Now, another important aspect of this post-credit scene is the fact that the Venom symbiote, or at least part of the Venom symbiote, will be remaining in the MCU, and that's a little bit of a tease to show that you will have Tom Holland Spider-Man interacting with a symbiote, the Venom symbiote, which is a part of the actual Venom symbiote from Eddie's universe. And the reason that's kind of a big problem is because you have this idea of merging, you have this idea of Spider-Verses, Venom-verses, and multiverses. And yet, in this, which would have been an opportunity to see Venom and Spider-Man actually come face-to-face, you're essentially kicking the can down the road. That is not going to happen at this point, but it is sort of being teased out.
I'll be right there.
Now, I want you to hold that thought for just a second. Hold it in your mind, and let's talk about the new trailer for Across the Spider-Verse, which recently debuted from Sony. Now, technically, Into the Spider-Verse, the first movie in this animated franchise, we get the introduction of different Spider-Man and Spider-People, as you have, Spider-Gwen, obviously. And so you introduce this idea of the Spider-Verse, again, going back to what Tom Hardy said. Well, within the trailer for the second film, we see some kind of hexagon-like portal, which is able to take different Spider-People, or perhaps anyone, into other universes. When Stacy has one of these things on her wrist in the scene where she comes and, says what's up to Miles in his room and he's all embarrassed. And we see Miguel O'Hara have one of them on his arm as well when he is later in the trailer trying to grab Miles and pull him into different universes. So the main idea that's being introduced here is the ability to travel into a different universe using the technology that O'Hara has in the year 2099 from his native universe. And that seems to be a way to keep having fun within the multiverse of these different Spider-People, not have them breaking down in the dimensional sense, which happens in the first movie. They all just have to go back to their native universes because they can't exist within Miles's. And it's at this point in the video, I want to take a short break and form a little experiment. If you are totally with me and understand where I might be going with this, smash the like button. And if you're incredibly confused and have no idea what's going on, smash the like button. Don't worry about how I'll figure out which one you were on. I'll figure that out. You just smash the like button. So you've got a 2-part animated movie coming out from Sony where you will have different Spider-People interacting across the multiverse using technology to be able to travel between them. And you've got Sony and Marvel teasing out Tom Holland Spider-Man coming face-to-face with Tom Hardy's Venom, that being teased out in a post-credit scene that actually then pulls Venom back into the Sony universe, making it so if they had a face-to-face, either Tom's going to have to go over there, Tom Holland, or Tom Hardy's going to have to come back over to the MCU. And then you've got that interview with Tom Hardy talking about the alchemy of knowing the right way and time to do all of these sort of things, mentioning the Venomverse, mentioning the Spider-Verse, and then mentioning the multiverse. Well, do you think maybe Tom Hardy knew some of what that plan, or as he even says in that interview, potential plan or hopes for the plan might be? And then I want to take you all the way back to this first initial report that we talked about here. Tom Holland Spider-Man appearing as Spider-Man in Venom 3. This being a big time movie for Sony Pictures, okay? What do I think is going on with all of this stuff? Well, let me tell you. I believe that Venom 3 will see Tom Holland with a Venom symbiote or some form of the symbiote coming over and messing around with Eddie Brock. And I don't know if Tom Holland will go over to the Sony Marvel universe with the symbiote, or you'll see Eddie come into the MCU once again. But I would wager that whatever they're doing in Across the Spider-Verse may be the key to how that will happen. And so what I think Sony is going to do is sort of take Tom Holland's Peter Parker through his arc with the Venom symbiote and sort of a darker chapter in the life of that character. And they're going to do that over with Eddie Brock in a Sony movie. And you'll sort of have this weird thing going on where you've got two symbiotes and you've got Spider-Man and you've got Eddie Brock. And I think the way that will likely resolve is with Tom Holland giving like his portion of the symbiote back to Eddie Brock, realizing it's not something that he can handle or that he should have, and then that would allow the symbiote over in the Venomverse to then have the spider symbol and be more like the Venom we recognize from the comics. This would allow Kevin Feige to have some say in how the Tom Holland Spider-Man interacts with his symbiote and goes on his darker type journey, but it also allows Marvel to kind of skip all that stuff and just pick up with Peter Parker in college, having dealt with that sort of stuff, but not also having the burden of dealing with the symbiote and what that could do to him. And I think Across the Spider-Verse is going to, again, set up how that's going to work in Venom 3, but I also think it might lay the foundation for the second movie that Tom Holland will be in the Sony universe. And even though that's a ways out, I would anticipate that to be some kind of live action Spider-Verse movie with either one or multiple versions of Miles Morales, which would be freaking dope as heck. But there you have it, guys. My crazy theory as to how all of this will fit together. Some of the rumors and leaks that are out there in this new report about Tom Holland Spider-Man being a big part of Venom 3. It kind of tracks, makes sense to me. I would love to know what you think about it. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like this video if you liked it. Make sure you go check out our live streaming channel, our new podcast, which is out on Spotify and other podcast platforms. And make sure you check me out on the TikTokies because I'm a cool kid too. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.